Alrighty, this is video 2 on how to do t-tests in PSPP or SPSS. We are using our same example of saying that we have done some sort of stress test on students. But this time I've switched it up a little bit. First of all, I've added another variable of age. Not that we're going to use it, but realistically, I wanted you to see if we collected data from students, we would have more than just our one thing, our test, right? We probably would have asked them other questions about what is your major? What is your age? What is your relationship status? Do you have kids? How many years have you been in school? Because you would have more variables going across here for your data. I just wanted you to see what that would look like of having a longer list instead of just what we're interested in. Because just so you know, for your midterm, you're going to have to do some of this, and I'm going to ask you compute this thing on this variable. So I wanted you to see what it looks like to have a few more on there. But anyway, we learned how to do a one-sample t-test using the software on example number 1. Now I've elaborated this example a little bit, and I have put in a pre-test and a post-test score. Because let's say that before we did our stress reduction seminar, we gave them a stress pre-test, and then after the seminar, we followed up with them a week later and gave them a stress post-test to see if they put the skills into practice and how well they did. All right. So let's say that this is our hypothetical setup for this situation. So the first thing I wanted to show you is that there is still some use here for doing a one sample t-test, because we can return to our example of, let's say that we know that the average score on this test, the average score in the stress test of the student population at Drury is a 57. Let's go back to that example. And maybe we want to verify that at the beginning of the stress reduction seminar, the students that I chose are not statistically significant from the Drury population in terms of their stress test. Maybe we want to make sure I didn't get a group of students that had lower stress to begin with, or that had elevated levels of stress to begin with. So I'll come up here to analyze, compare means, one sample t-test. Let's start out with this pre-test score. Let's tell it that our value of Drury was 57. Let's click OK. And let's verify that, okay, to start with, our students on their pretest were not significantly different than our students in general, right? Nowhere close. So we don't have a biased sample. We don't have a skewed sample. We can say our sample that we started with was not significantly different than our student population. Great. Now let's move in to, well, first of all, pause me so you can answer this question. What kind of t-test would we use if we know we have a pre-test and a post-test from the exact same students and we're wanting to compare them? What is this kind of t-test? If you said a t-test for dependent means, you are correct. If you have no idea what I'm talking about, please review the lecture videos and your textbook. So let's go up here to analyze, compare means, and this software refers to this as a paired samples t-test, okay? So a t-test for dependent means is the same as a paired samples t-test. Now, when you first open this window is going to look something like this. If it looks like this, make sure you expand it out so you can see both columns. We're going to tell our software that variable number 1 is the pretest score, because see, it's asking for what variables it's pairing together, what variables is it dependent upon each other, and variable number 2 is this post-test score. Again, I could mess with my options if I wanted to change my confidence interval or exclude values, but right now I don't want to. I'm going to click OK. Let me come over here and open my output. And you can see the output builds upon each other. So I have my one sample 1 still up here because I never cleared it out. So let's look at our paired samples. We had 94 students we were working with. I added a few from the last example if you're watching these in order. I know that at the beginning, the test mean was 55. I know that after the test mean was 58.5. I see my standard deviations and my standard errors. Now I can come down here and I can say, okay, my statistical significance was 0.08. So I didn't quite get there, but I'm close. Maybe I want to redo this and increase my sample size later. But this is how you read the output for a paired sample t-test.